I wake up at 6 a.m. every morning. I yawn and stretch, feeling groggy. I get out of bed and head to the bathroom. I brush my teeth for 2 minutes, making sure to reach every tooth. I rinse my mouth and spit out the toothpaste. Then I splash cold water on my face to wake myself up. I dry my face with a towel and look in the mirror. I notice my messy hair and comb it into place. After that, I pick out my outfit for the day. I put on my clothes and tie my shoelaces. Finally, I walk downstairs to the kitchen and prepare a healthy breakfast. I make a bowl of oatmeal with fruits and sprinkle some cinnamon on top. While eating, I feel energized and ready for the day ahead.
During my lunch break, I go to a cafe near the office. I order a sandwich and sometimes a drink. Then, I find a table and sit down. I eat my sandwich while talking to my colleagues. We discuss work, our weekends, and sometimes even our favorite TV shows. The cafe is always busy during lunchtime, but I manage to find a seat. After finishing my sandwich, I throw away the empty wrapper and head back to the office. It's a quick and enjoyable break from work.
In the afternoon, I take a short break to have a cup of tea. It helps me relax and boosts my energy. I put the kettle on and wait for it to boil. Then, I choose a tea bag from my collection. I pour hot water into a mug and let the tea steep. While it brews, I grab a little snack. Finally, I sit down and savor every sip. The warmth and flavor of the tea is so comforting. After finishing my tea, I feel refreshed and ready to tackle the rest of the day.
At night, I start my bedtime routine. First, I brush my teeth for 2 minutes using toothpaste and a toothbrush. Then, I rinse my mouth with water. Next, I wash my face with a gentle cleanser. I rub it in circular motions and rinse it off with warm water. After that, I dry my face with a clean towel. Then, I change into my comfy pajamas. I put on a soft and cozy shirt and pants. Finally, I climb into bed and pull the covers up to my chin. I feel relaxed and ready for a good night's sleep.
I went to the supermarket to buy groceries for my kitchen. I needed fresh fruits, vegetables, dairy products, and other essential items. I picked up bananas, apples, and oranges for the fruits. For vegetables, I got carrots, broccoli, and lettuce. In the dairy section, I bought milk, eggs, and cheese. I also grabbed some bread, pasta, and rice. I paid at the checkout counter and took my bags home. Now my kitchen is stocked with all the essentials.
Today was laundry day for me. I had a pile of dirty clothes that needed to be washed. First, I separated the clothes into different piles: whites, colors, and delicates. Then, I put the whites in the washing machine first. I poured detergent into the designated slot and closed the lid. Next, I added the colors and the delicates one by one. Once everything was in the machine, I pressed the start button. While the clothes were washing, I went outside to hang the wet clothes on the clothesline. I used clothespins to secure them in place, making sure they were evenly spaced out. After that, I went back inside and put the delicates in the dryer. I set the dryer to the appropriate heat setting and let it run. Finally, I folded the dry clothes and put them away in their respective drawers. Laundry day may be tiring, but it's always satisfying to have clean and fresh clothes to wear.
I clean my house every week. First, I dust the furniture using a cloth. Then, I vacuum the floors to remove any dirt or dust. After that, I scrub the bathroom using cleaning products and a brush. Finally, I organize my belongings, putting everything in its proper place. By doing these tasks, my house looks neat and tidy.
Every day, I take care of my plants. I have both indoor and outdoor plants. Watering them is an important task. I make sure they receive the right amount of hydration. This keeps them healthy and thriving. I water my plants in the morning or evening. I use a watering can or hose depending on the size of the plant. I water the soil around the plant, not the leaves. Overwatering can harm the plants, so I am careful. I also check the soil moisture before watering. If it's already damp, I wait before watering again. I enjoy this daily routine as it helps me connect with nature.
I enjoy going for a walk in nature. I usually choose to walk in the park or around my neighborhood. It's a great opportunity to get some fresh air and stretch my legs. The park is filled with trees, flowers, and birds. I love listening to the sound of birds chirping and feeling the cool breeze on my face. Sometimes, I spot squirrels running around and playing in the trees. I also enjoy the beautiful colors of the flowers as I walk by. It's a peaceful and relaxing experience to be surrounded by nature.
Last week, I met up with my friends at our favorite cafe. We greeted each other with hugs and smiles. We found a cozy table by the window and sat down. We ordered our favorite drinks. I chose a hot latte with extra foam. As we sipped our coffees, we took turns sharing updates on our lives. We talked about work, family, and recent events. We laughed at funny stories and shared advice. The atmosphere was relaxed and comfortable. Time seemed to fly by as we chatted away. Before we knew it, a couple of hours had passed. Reluctantly, we said our goodbyes and went our separate ways. We promised to meet up again soon for another coffee catch-up. It was a wonderful time spent with friends, filled with laughter and warmth.
On some weekends, I like to plan a trip to a nearby town or city. I enjoy exploring new places and experiencing different cultures. During these trips, I also love trying the local cuisine and indulging in delicious meals. It's always exciting to discover new flavors and dishes. I make sure to take lots of pictures to capture the memories of these special moments. These weekend getaways allow me to escape from my daily routine and create lasting memories. It's a great way to relax and recharge before starting a new week.
Recently, I decided to try a new restaurant for a gastronomic adventure. As I entered, I was greeted by a friendly staff. The menu was extensive, offering a variety of dishes from different cuisines. I narrowed down my choices and ordered a dish I had never tried before. The food arrived promptly and looked appetizing. With each bite, I experienced a burst of unique flavors. The chef's creativity was evident in every dish. As I savored the meal, my culinary curiosities were satisfied. The restaurant had a cozy ambiance, which added to my overall dining experience.
I recently attended a friend's birthday party. I arrived with a gift in hand. The atmosphere was festive and filled with excitement. We gathered around a table filled with delicious food. I savored the taste of homemade treats. Laughter filled the air as we shared stories and caught up with one another. The highlight of the party was playing games together. We competed in friendly matches and cheered each other on. As the party came to an end, we said our goodbyes and exchanged heartfelt hugs. It was a delightful celebration that created lasting memories.
With my camera around my neck, I go on a photography walk. I enjoy capturing the beauty of nature. I focus on capturing beautiful landscapes. I find a colorful flower and take a close-up shot. I walk further and spot a flock of birds flying in the sky. I quickly click a picture. Next, I come across a peaceful lake. I take a panoramic shot of the serene view. I continue my walk and notice a couple sharing a sweet moment. I capture their candid portrait. As the sun sets, I capture the vibrant colors in the sky. I love preserving these unique moments through my camera lens.
I decided to go for a bike ride today. I hopped on my bike and started pedaling. The weather was nice, with a gentle breeze blowing. As I cycled along, I noticed the beautiful scenery around me. The trees were lush and green, and the flowers were blooming. I felt the wind in my hair as I rode faster. I enjoyed the feeling of freedom and adventure that cycling brings. I explored new paths and discovered hidden gems in my neighborhood. It was thrilling to navigate through different terrains and test my skills. After a while, I took a break and sat down by a lake to admire the view. The water was calm and peaceful. I felt refreshed and rejuvenated. I continued my ride, taking in the sights and sounds of nature. As I reached home, I couldn't help but smile. It had been a wonderful cycling adventure, and I couldn't wait for the next one.
I have a pet that I take care of every day. I feed it in the morning and give it fresh water. Then, I play with it using its favorite toys. After playing, I brush its fur to keep it clean and shiny. In the evening, I give it some more food and make sure it has a comfortable place to sleep. I also give it lots of love and attention because it brings me so much joy and companionship.
I enjoy doing DIY projects. Recently, I found an old wooden chair in the attic. I decided to give it a makeover. First, I sanded the chair to remove the old paint. Then, I painted it a beautiful shade of blue. Next, I went to the fabric store and found a pretty floral pattern. I used the fabric to reupholster the seat cushion. After that, I added some decorative trim around the edges to give it a finished look. Now, the chair looks completely different and fits perfectly in my living room. I'm proud of myself for being able to transform something old into something new and stylish.
It was a sunny day, so I decided to take a day trip to the beach. I packed my beach towel, sunscreen, and a folding chair in my bag. When I arrived, I found a spot on the sand and spread out my towel. I lay down, feeling the warmth of the sun on my skin. I could hear the sound of waves crashing against the shore. The ocean looked inviting, so I decided to go for a swim. The water was cool and refreshing. I swam for a while, enjoying the feeling of weightlessness. After my swim, I decided to build a sandcastle. I used my hands to shape the sand and added seashells for decoration. It was fun to see the castle take shape. As I looked around, I couldn't help but admire the beauty of the coastal scenery. The clear blue sky, the white sand, and the sparkling water were breathtaking. I sat in my folding chair, sipping a cold drink, and taking in the view. It was a perfect day at the beach, filled with relaxation and enjoyment.
I enjoy writing in my journal every day. It helps me express my thoughts, feelings, and experiences. It's a time for me to reflect and gain clarity. Each morning, I find a quiet spot and open my journal. I grab my pen and start writing. I jot down everything that comes to mind. Sometimes, I write about my dreams or goals. Other times, I write about the things I did the day before. I also write about my emotions, whether I'm happy, sad, or excited. It feels like a release, like I'm getting everything out of my mind and onto paper. Writing in my journal has become a daily ritual that I look forward to. It helps me make sense of my thoughts and find solutions to problems. It's a personal journey that allows me to grow and develop a deeper understanding of myself.
I decided to enroll in a language class. It's a great opportunity to expand my communication skills. In class, I learn how to speak and write in a new language. The teacher explains grammar rules and vocabulary. We have listening exercises and practice conversations. It's exciting to learn about different cultures too. Language classes are like a journey into another world. I meet people from various backgrounds. We share experiences and learn from each other. It's amazing how language connects us all. I feel motivated to continue my linguistic journey.
I went to a flea market yesterday. It was busy with many stalls. People were selling all kinds of things. I walked around and looked at the items. There were old books, vintage clothes, and antique furniture. I found a table that caught my eye. It was made of wood and had beautiful carvings. I bargained with the seller and bought it for a good price. I also found some old records that I liked. They were in good condition. I enjoyed my time at the flea market. It was like a treasure hunt, finding hidden gems among the crowd.
I visit a crowded market. I walk around and look at different stalls. I see fruits, vegetables, and flowers. I see people selling clothes, shoes, and bags too. I inquire about prices and ask for discounts. I buy some fresh vegetables and fruits. I talk to the vendor about their products. I pay for my purchases and continue exploring the market. I enjoy the vibrant atmosphere and support local businesses.
I recently enrolled in a photography class to improve my skills. The class taught me various techniques for capturing stunning images. I learned about composition, lighting, and different camera settings. We practiced taking photos both indoors and outdoors. The instructor gave us feedback on our work, helping us understand how to make improvements. I feel more confident in my ability to take beautiful pictures now. I'm excited to continue practicing and capturing the beauty around me.
I decided to try a new sport to challenge myself and have some fun. I chose rock climbing because it seemed exciting. I went to a climbing gym where they had a large wall with colorful holds. I put on a harness and the instructor showed me how to tie the rope and use the equipment. I started climbing and it was harder than I expected. My muscles were shaking, but I didn't give up. With each climb, I got a little better and more confident. It was a great feeling when I finally reached the top. I loved the adrenaline rush and the feeling of accomplishment. Trying a new sport was definitely a thrilling adventure.
I enjoy gardening in my backyard. I dig small holes in the soil. I gently place flower seeds into the holes. I cover the seeds with soil. I water the soil with a watering can. I wait patiently for the flowers to grow. I check the soil every day. I make sure it gets enough sunlight. I water the plants regularly. I pull out the weeds that grow around them. I am excited when the flowers start to bloom. I see beautiful colors in my garden. I admire the flowers' fragrances. I feel proud of my hard work. Gardening is a rewarding activity.
I went to a farmer's market. Many stalls were selling fresh produce. The fruits and vegetables looked vibrant and colorful. Farmers were proudly displaying their homegrown products. I walked around and admired the different types of produce available. The smell of fresh herbs filled the air. People were bustling around, picking out their favorite fruits and vegetables. I decided to buy some fresh strawberries. They were sweet and juicy. I also bought a bunch of crisp lettuce and some ripe tomatoes. The market was crowded, but it was worth it to support local farmers. The prices were reasonable, and the quality was excellent. I felt good knowing that I was contributing to sustainable agriculture. It was a wonderful experience discovering new and unique produce. I can't wait to visit the farmers market again and try more delicious fresh food.
I decided to try a new workout class to challenge myself. Today, I went to a fitness studio near my home. I was nervous but also excited to try something new. The instructor welcomed me and explained what we would be doing in the class. We started with a warm-up to get our bodies ready for the workout. Then, we moved on to the main part of the class. We did a combination of cardio and strength exercises. The instructor demonstrated each move, and I tried my best to keep up. It was tough, but I pushed myself to keep going. After the class, I felt exhausted but also proud of myself for trying something new. I can't wait to go back and continue challenging myself in different workout classes.
Last weekend, I decided to go on a nature hike. I wanted to discover the beauty of the outdoors. I found a scenic trail near my house. The weather was perfect, with clear blue skies and a gentle breeze. As I started walking, I could hear the birds singing and the rustling of leaves. I felt so peaceful surrounded by nature. Along the way, I saw a variety of plants and flowers. Some were in vibrant colors, while others were more subtle. I also spotted several animals like squirrels and rabbits. They were so cute and curious. I took my time to observe them in their natural habitat. The air was so fresh, and I could smell the scent of the earth and flowers. I breathed it all in, feeling rejuvenated and alive. Walking through the forest, I felt a sense of wonder and tranquility. The sights, sounds, and smells of nature were truly beautiful. It was a perfect way to spend my day, immersing myself in the wonders of the natural world.
I join a community event like a charity walk or local festival. I meet people and make connections. We work together for a common cause. I feel proud to contribute to the community. I help clean up the neighborhood and make it better. I enjoy the experience and have fun. The event brings people together and creates a sense of unity. We all enjoy the activities and have a good time. It's nice to see everyone coming together for a positive purpose.
I decided to try a new hairstyle and transform my look. I went to the salon and discussed my ideas with the stylist. We agreed on a shorter cut and a lighter color. The stylist washed and cut my hair, creating a fresh and modern style. Then, she applied the dye and let it sit for a while. After rinsing, she blow-dried and styled my hair, giving it volume and texture. I looked at the mirror and was amazed at the transformation. I felt confident and excited about my new look.
Last weekend, I went to a theme park. The park was full of exciting rides and attractions. I started by going on a thrilling roller coaster. It went really fast and had lots of twists and turns. After that, I watched an entertaining show. The performers were very talented and it was fun to watch. I also went on a water ride and got splashed with water. It was refreshing but also made me wet. I tried some delicious snacks like popcorn and ice cream. They were tasty and gave me energy for more adventures. I went on some more rides, like a Ferris wheel and a carousel. They were not as exciting as the roller coaster, but still enjoyable. The park had a lot of people, but I didn't mind because I was having so much fun. The whole day was filled with excitement and wonder. I can't wait to go to the theme park again and experience even more thrilling adventures.
I recently decided to take a pottery class to try something new. The class was held in a small studio with other beginners. We were given a block of clay to work with. I started by kneading the clay to make it soft and moldable. Then, I began shaping the clay with my hands, forming a simple bowl. It was challenging at first, but the instructor gave me some tips. Slowly, I could see my creation taking shape. I added details and smoothed out any rough edges. It was satisfying to see my unique creation come to life. The process of working with clay was therapeutic and calming. I loved the feeling of the clay in my hands and the freedom to create something from scratch. Overall, it was a rewarding experience, and I enjoyed the artistic aspect of pottery making.
On a hot summer day, I decided to go for a swim. I headed to the local swimming pool and jumped into the cool water. With each stroke, I felt the water embrace my body. It was so refreshing. The sound of water splashing and the laughter of others filled the air. I swam back and forth, enjoying the feeling of weightlessness. After a while, I decided to take a break and relax by the poolside. As I lay there, the warmth of the sun dried my skin. Feeling rejuvenated, I couldn't help but smile. Going for a swim was the perfect way to beat the heat and have some fun.
I recently downloaded a new language app on my phone. It offers interactive lessons and vocabulary practices to help me learn a new language. I've been using it every day during my commute to work. The app has different levels, so I started with the beginner level. Each lesson includes audio recordings to help me practice my pronunciation. I find the app very engaging and user-friendly. I can track my progress and see my improvement over time. It's like embarking on a language learning journey right from the palm of my hand.
I went to a food festival recently. It was a wonderful experience. There were so many different types of food to try. I sampled dishes from many different countries. It was like taking a culinary journey around the world. There were spicy dishes, sweet desserts, and everything in between. I couldn't resist trying a bit of everything. The flavors were amazing and it really satisfied my hunger. I enjoyed trying new foods and experiencing different flavors. It was a great way to spend the day and indulge in my love for food.
I wanted to change my look, so I decided to try a new hairstyle. I wanted something bold and different. I went to the hair salon and told the stylist what I wanted. She gave me a consultation and we discussed different options. We looked at pictures in magazines for inspiration. Finally, we decided on a short pixie cut. The stylist began cutting my hair and I watched as my old hair fell to the floor. I felt nervous and excited at the same time. When she finished, I looked in the mirror and couldn't believe the transformation. I looked completely different. I paid for the haircut and left the salon feeling confident and stylish. I received many compliments from my friends and family. Trying a new hairstyle was a fun and refreshing experience for me.
I recently went to a flower market. It was called Floral Paradise. The atmosphere was filled with the sweet aroma of flowers. Everywhere I looked, there were vibrant colors and beautiful blooms. I took my time exploring the different types of flowers. There were roses, tulips, daisies, and many more. The market was bustling with people, all searching for the perfect bouquet. After browsing for a while, I finally found a bouquet that caught my eye. It had a mix of pink roses and yellow daisies. The flowers were so fresh and had a lovely fragrance. I decided to buy the bouquet and bring it home to brighten up my living space. It was such a wonderful experience being surrounded by nature's beauty at the flower market.
I went to the supermarket to buy groceries. I needed fruits, vegetables, and milk. I walked around the store to find what I needed. I picked out some apples, bananas, and oranges. Then I went to the vegetable section. I chose some carrots, tomatoes, and lettuce. Next, I went to the dairy aisle for milk. I selected a carton of milk and put it in my cart. Finally, I went to the checkout counter. I paid for my groceries and went back home.
Last night, after dinner, I went to the sink to wash the dirty dishes. I filled the sink with warm water and added some soap. I picked up a plate and scrubbed it with a sponge. Then, I rinsed it under the running tap water. Next, I washed the silverware, using the same process. After that, I moved on to the glasses and cups, being careful not to break any. Once everything was clean, I placed the dishes on a drying rack to air dry. Finally, I wiped down the sink and put away the soap. Washing the dishes was a simple and necessary task that I completed efficiently.
I vacuumed the floors today. I needed to remove dust and dirt. I used a vacuum cleaner to do this. The vacuum cleaner plugged into the wall. I turned it on and it made a loud noise. I pushed it back and forth on the carpet. The vacuum cleaner sucked up all the dirt and dust. When I finished, the floors looked clean. Vacuuming is a good way to keep the floors neat and tidy.
Yesterday, I went to my garden to water the plants. I picked up a watering can and filled it with water. I walked around the garden, stopping at each plant. I gently poured water from the can onto the soil around the plants. I made sure to water each plant thoroughly. After watering all the plants, I put the watering can back in its place.
I woke up and decided to make my bed. I straightened the sheets, pillows, and blankets to make it look tidy. I placed the pillows neatly on top of the bed. Then, I smoothed out the wrinkles on the sheets and pulled them tight. Next, I tucked the blankets under the mattress to keep them in place. Finally, I fluffed the pillows and stepped back to admire my freshly made bed. It felt good to start the day with a clean and organized space.
I set the table for dinner. I put plates, glasses, and utensils on the table. The plates were round and made of ceramic. The glasses were tall and made of glass. The utensils were shiny and made of stainless steel. I placed one plate in front of each chair. I put one glass on the right side of each plate. I arranged the utensils on each side of the plates. The forks were on the left, and the knives and spoons were on the right. I made sure everything was evenly spaced and looked neat. Once I finished setting the table, it was ready for dinner.
I needed to do laundry, so I sorted my dirty clothes into different piles. I separated the whites, colors, and delicates. Then, I put the first load of clothes into the washing machine. I added detergent and set the water temperature. While the clothes were washing, I took a break. Once the washing cycle was done, I transferred the wet clothes to the drying rack. I hung each item carefully so they wouldn't get wrinkled. After that, I started the second load of laundry and repeated the process. When all the clothes were dry, I folded them and put them away in their respective places.
I woke up feeling refreshed and decided to take a shower. I quickly took off my clothes and stepped into the bathroom. I turned on the shower and adjusted the temperature to my liking. The warm water cascaded over my body, refreshing me. I reached for the soap and lathered it in my hands. I started washing my body, starting from my head and working my way down to my feet. The soap foamed and left a pleasant scent on my skin. I rinsed off the soap with the water and felt clean. I stayed in the shower for a few more minutes, enjoying the calming sensation. Finally, I turned off the water and stepped out, drying myself with a fluffy towel. Taking a shower was a simple yet satisfying experience that left me feeling rejuvenated.
Yesterday, I had a pile of wrinkled clothes. I picked up my iron and plugged it in. The iron heated up quickly. I spread out the first wrinkled shirt on the ironing board. I pressed the hot iron onto the fabric. Slowly, I moved the iron back and forth. The shirt became smooth and wrinkle-free. I continued ironing each piece of clothing one by one. It took some time, but I was determined to make them look nice. After ironing all the clothes, I hung them back in the closet. Now, they looked neat and presentable. Ironing clothes may take time, but it is worth it to have them looking their best.
Yesterday, I decided to clean my house. I started with dusting the furniture. I grabbed a dusting cloth and began wiping off the dust from the tables, chairs, and shelves. It took some time to reach all the corners and edges. The dust was thick in some places, so I had to go over it multiple times. Once I finished, the furniture looked much cleaner and shiny. I was satisfied with the result of my effort. Dusting the furniture is an important task to keep the house clean and tidy.
I needed to clean the dirty floor, so I grabbed a mop and a bucket. I filled the bucket with water and poured in some floor cleaner. Then, I dipped the mop into the water and squeezed out the excess liquid. I started mopping the floor, moving the mop back and forth. As I went along, I could see the dirty spots being cleaned and the floor becoming shiny. I continued mopping until the whole floor was clean. Once I was done, I emptied the dirty water from the bucket and rinsed the mop. Cleaning the floor was tiring, but it felt satisfying to see the clean and sparkling result.
Yesterday, I decided to take care of my garden. It had been a while since I last tended to it, and there were many unwanted plants growing. I wanted to make sure there was enough space for the healthy plants to thrive. So, I grabbed my garden gloves and started pulling out the weeds one by one. It was a bit tiring, but I kept going. As I continued, I noticed some flowers starting to bloom. It was a rewarding feeling to see the progress. After a couple of hours, the garden was looking much better. I took a step back and admired my hard work. It felt great to have a clean and organized garden again. Now, I can't wait to see how the healthy plants will grow and flourish in the coming weeks.
Today, I wanted to make some tea. First, I filled a pot with water and put it on the stove. I turned on the heat to boil the water. Once it was boiling, I took out a tea bag from the box and opened it. I put the tea bag into a cup and waited for the water to boil. When the water was ready, I poured it into the cup, over the tea bag. I let the tea steep for a few minutes to let the flavors blend. After that, I took out the tea bag and added some milk and sugar to taste. Finally, I stirred everything together and enjoyed my cup of tea.
I woke up this morning and went to the bathroom. I took my toothbrush and put toothpaste on it. Then I started brushing my teeth. I brushed every tooth and made sure to clean them well. After brushing, I rinsed my mouth with water. I spit out the water and checked my teeth in the mirror. They looked clean and shiny. I felt good knowing that I had taken care of my oral hygiene.
I turned on the tap, water flowed out. I wet my hands with water. I grabbed the soap. The soap was slippery in my hands. I lathered my hands with soap. The soap foamed up. I rubbed my hands together. I made sure to wash every part of my hands. I rinsed off the soap with water. I let the water run over my fingers. I made sure the soap was all gone. I turned off the tap. I dried my hands with a towel. The towel was soft and absorbent. My hands were clean and dry.
Yesterday, I decided to do some exercises to keep my body fit and healthy. I started with push-ups, doing 10 repetitions. After that, I moved on to sit-ups, and I did 15 of them. It felt challenging, but I pushed through. Next, I did some stretches to help improve my flexibility. I stretched my arms, legs, and back for about 5 minutes. Overall, it was a good workout session, and I felt proud of myself for taking care of my body.
Yesterday, I noticed that a button on my shirt was loose. I decided to fix it myself. First, I found a needle and thread. Then, I threaded the needle carefully. I held the button in place and started sewing. I made sure to sew it securely, going through all the buttonholes. Once I finished sewing, I cut off the extra thread. The button was now back in place and my shirt was good as new. Sewing a button was easier than I thought.
Yesterday, I decided to wash my car. I gathered all the supplies I needed: a bucket, soapy water, and a sponge. First, I filled the bucket with water and added soap to create soapy water. Then, I took the sponge and started cleaning the car's exterior. I scrubbed all the dirt and grime off, making sure to cover every inch of the car. Once I finished, I rinsed off all the soap using a hose. The water washed away all the suds and left my car looking clean and shiny. I felt satisfied with my efforts and happy with the result.
I woke up and turned on my computer. I clicked on the email icon and opened my email account. There were several new emails in my inbox. I read through them one by one. Some were from friends, and some were from work. I saw an email from my boss that needed a response. I clicked on it and typed out my reply. Once I finished, I clicked on the send button. I felt relieved to have taken care of that task. Checking my emails was an important part of my daily routine.
I went to the bank today to exchange my currency. I handed over my money to the teller and received the local currency in return. The process was quick and efficient. I counted the money to make sure the exchange was correct. Then, I put the new currency in my wallet. Overall, it was a straightforward transaction at the bank.
I turned on the television and grabbed the remote control. I flicked through the channels, searching for something interesting to watch. Finally, I found a show that caught my attention. I sat back on the couch, got comfortable, and started watching. The show was entertaining and kept me engaged. Time flew by as I got absorbed in the storyline. Before I knew it, it was time for bed. I turned off the TV and went to sleep, looking forward to more enjoyable shows in the future.
I was feeling tired, so I decided to take a nap. I went to my bedroom and lay down on my comfortable bed. I closed my eyes and tried to relax my mind and body. Slowly, I started to doze off and enter into a light sleep. I wasn't dreaming, but I could feel myself drifting into a peaceful state. I stayed in that state for about 20 minutes, just enough to recharge my energy. After that, I woke up feeling refreshed and ready to continue with my day. Taking a nap really helped me feel more alert and focused.
I decided to bake some cookies. I got all the ingredients ready. I mixed the butter, sugar, and eggs together in a bowl. Then I added the flour and chocolate chips. I stirred everything until it was well mixed. I took a small spoonful of the dough and rolled it into a ball in my hands. I repeated this step until all the dough was rolled into balls. I placed the balls onto a baking tray lined with parchment paper. I preheated the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Once the oven was ready, I put the tray into the oven and set the timer for 10 minutes. While the cookies were baking, I cleaned up the kitchen. When the timer went off, I took the cookies out of the oven. They were golden brown and smelled delicious. I let them cool for a few minutes before transferring them to a cooling rack. I enjoyed eating the warm, freshly baked cookies with a glass of milk.
I sat down on the couch and grabbed the controller. I turned on the TV and started playing a video game. I entered a virtual world filled with exciting challenges. I battled fierce monsters and solved puzzles. The game had amazing graphics and realistic sound effects. I played for hours, completely absorbed in the game. I felt a sense of accomplishment every time I completed a difficult level. I enjoyed the feeling of control and power in the virtual world. The game required quick reflexes and strategic thinking. It was a thrilling experience that allowed me to escape reality for a while. I felt a rush of adrenaline as I successfully overcame obstacles. The game provided a fun and entertaining way to spend my free time. I lost track of time, and before I knew it, the sun had set. Overall, playing video games was a great way to relax and have fun.
Today, I decided to work on my garden. I gathered some seeds and planted them in the soil. After that, I watered the plants to make sure they get enough moisture. While doing that, I noticed some weeds growing in my garden. I took my gardening tools and carefully removed the weeds from the soil. It was a bit tiring, but I knew it was necessary to keep my plants healthy. I'm excited to see how my garden will grow in the coming weeks.
Yesterday, I decided to send a letter to my friend. I took out a pen and wrote a letter on a piece of paper. Then, I folded the paper neatly and put it inside an envelope. I sealed the envelope using the adhesive on the flap. Next, I wrote my friend's address on the front of the envelope. I made sure to include their name, street number, city, and postal code. Once the envelope was addressed, I walked to the nearest mailbox. I opened the mailbox and dropped the letter inside. I felt satisfied knowing that soon my friend would receive my letter.
Today, I had to take out the trash. I started by collecting all the garbage from each room in my house. I made sure to check under the bed and in the bathroom as well. Once I had gathered all the trash, I tied up the bag tightly so nothing would fall out. Then, I took the bag and walked outside to the designated area for garbage pickup. I made sure to place the bag in a spot where it wouldn't get in the way. Now, I can relax knowing that the trash is taken care of and my house is clean.
I put on the leash and took my dog for a walk in the park. We enjoyed the fresh air and the sunshine. My dog was excited to explore and sniff around. We saw other dogs and greeted them. My dog even made a new furry friend. We walked around the park, following the path. It was nice to be outside and get some exercise. After a while, we stopped at a grassy area. I let my dog off the leash so it could run and play. It was happy to stretch its legs and chase after a ball. We stayed at the park for about an hour, taking our time. Finally, it was time to go home. I put the leash back on my dog and we walked back. It was a nice day for a walk, and my dog seemed happy and tired.
I decided to try painting today. I got my brush and dipped it in paint. Then, I applied the paint onto the canvas. I started with broad strokes, creating the background. I mixed different colors to get the right shades. As I continued painting, I added more details. I used smaller brushes for the finer parts. It took a while, but I finally finished my artwork. When I stepped back and looked at it, I felt proud. I had created something beautiful with just a brush and paint.
Yesterday, I needed to make a phone call. I dialed the number carefully and waited for the person to answer. Finally, they picked up and I greeted them politely. We had a conversation about our plans for the weekend. I listened attentively and responded to their questions and comments. After a while, we said our goodbyes and ended the call. It was a successful phone call and I felt satisfied with our conversation.
Last week, I had to pay my taxes. I filled out all the required forms accurately and double-checked my calculations. After I finished, I realized that I owed a specific amount of money. I prepared my payment by writing a check for the exact amount. Then I sealed the envelope and put a stamp on it. I dropped the envelope in the mailbox to send it off to the tax office. It felt good to have completed this important responsibility.
I needed to wake up early in the morning, so I set my alarm clock. I checked the time to make sure it was correct. I set the alarm for 6 o'clock. I made sure the volume was loud enough. I placed the alarm clock on my bedside table. I went to bed and fell asleep. In the morning, I heard the alarm go off. I turned it off quickly. I got out of bed and started my day.
Yesterday, I had to fix my bike because it had a flat tire. I removed the wheel and found a nail in it. I took out the nail and patched up the hole with a rubber patch. Then, I pumped up the tire with some air using a bicycle pump. After that, I noticed that the brakes were not working properly. So, I adjusted them by tightening the brake cables. Once I was done with that, I checked if the gears were shifting smoothly. I realized that they were a bit off, so I made some adjustments to the derailleur. Finally, I made sure that all the bolts were secure and everything was in place. Now, my bike is fixed and ready to ride.
Yesterday, I decided to plant some flowers in my garden. I grabbed a shovel and dug small holes in the soil. Then, I took some flower seeds and carefully placed them in each hole. After that, I gently covered the seeds with soil. I watered the area to give the seeds some moisture. I will continue to water them every day until they start to sprout. I can't wait to see my beautiful flowers blooming in the future.
I gathered all the ingredients needed for making a sandwich. I took 2 slices of bread and put them on a plate. First, I spread some butter on 1 slice of bread. Then, I added a slice of cheese on top. After that, I placed some sliced tomatoes on the cheese. Next, I added a few lettuce leaves for freshness. I also put some mayonnaise on the other slice of bread. Finally, I carefully put the two slices of bread together to create my sandwich. I enjoyed my tasty meal and felt satisfied after eating it.
I needed to water the lawn, so I got a hose. I connected the hose to a sprinkler. Then, I turned the hose on. Water started coming out of the sprinkler. I moved the sprinkler around the lawn to water all areas. I noticed the grass getting wet. I kept the water on for a while. Finally, I turned off the hose and disconnected it from the sprinkler. The lawn looked refreshed and healthy.
I woke up early this morning and decided to go for a run. I put on my running shoes and comfortable workout clothes. I stepped outside and felt the cool morning air on my face. I started jogging slowly, warming up my muscles. As I reached the park, I increased my speed and began running faster. It felt invigorating as my heart started pumping. I passed by other joggers and smiled at them. The sun was rising, casting a golden glow on the trees and flowers. I admired the beautiful scenery around me as I continued running. After a while, I felt a bit tired but pushed myself to keep going. I completed several laps around the park, and gradually slowed down my pace. Finally, I reached my starting point and slowed to a walk. I took deep breaths to cool down and stretched my muscles to avoid any soreness. It was a great way to start my day and I felt accomplished. I couldn't wait to go for another run tomorrow.
I wanted to achieve my goals, so I wrote them down. I made a plan to help me reach my goals. I took steps to work towards achieving them. I stayed focused and motivated. I worked hard every day. I tracked my progress along the way. I celebrated small victories. I stayed determined, even when things got tough. I never gave up on my goals. I finally achieved what I set out to do. I felt proud and accomplished. I learned that setting goals and working towards them can lead to success. I am excited to set new goals and start the process all over again.
I decided to go on a vacation, so I started researching different destinations. I looked up travel websites and read reviews from other people. After comparing the options, I chose a place that seemed interesting to me. Next, I booked my flights online. I had to choose the dates and times that worked best for me. I also had to enter my personal information and payment details. Once my flights were confirmed, I moved on to arranging accommodation. I searched for hotels in the area I would be visiting. Again, I read reviews and compared prices before making my decision. Finally, I booked my hotel room online. I received confirmation emails for both my flights and hotel reservation. I felt excited knowing that everything was all set for my trip.
Yesterday, I needed to send a text message to someone. I picked up my phone and unlocked it. I opened the messaging app and clicked on the compose button. Then, I typed out my message using the on-screen keyboard. After I finished typing, I carefully proofread it for any mistakes. Once I was satisfied, I selected the recipient from my contacts list. I double-checked to make sure I had chosen the correct person. Finally, I pressed the send button and waited for the message to be delivered.
Writing a diary is a daily activity that I enjoy. Today, I opened my journal and started writing. I recorded my thoughts and experiences from the day. I wrote about the things I did, the places I went, and the people I saw. It was a way for me to remember the details of my day. Once I was finished, I closed my journal and put it away. I like being able to look back at my entries and see how my life has changed. Writing a diary helps me express myself and document my everyday activities.
Yesterday, I decided to make a grocery list. I took out a piece of paper and a pen. I wrote down all the items I needed for the week. I wanted to be organized, so I grouped the items by category. I put all the fruits and vegetables together, then the dairy products, and so on. After making the list, I felt prepared for my trip to the store. The list would help me remember everything I needed to buy.
Yesterday, I went shopping for clothes. I visited many stores and tried on different outfits. I found some clothes that I liked and decided to buy them. I added the new clothes to my wardrobe at home. I had a fun time trying on different styles and picking out new items for my collection. Shopping for clothes is always an exciting activity for me.
Yesterday, I decided to call my friend. I dialed their number and patiently waited for them to answer. Finally, they picked up the call and greeted me warmly. We had a friendly conversation, talking about our day and what we had been up to. We laughed and shared stories, catching up on each other's lives. It was nice to hear their voice and chat for a while. After a while, we said our goodbyes and ended the call. It was a simple and enjoyable activity that helped me connect with my friend.
Yesterday, I picked up my camera and went outside. I saw beautiful flowers, so I took a picture. Later, I saw a cute dog playing in the park. I captured that moment too. I went to the beach and saw the sunset. It was so pretty, I had to take a photo. Lastly, I took a picture of my family at dinner. I love taking photos because I can keep these special memories forever.
I wanted to give my room a fresh look, so I decided to paint it. First, I covered all the furniture with sheets to protect them from paint splatters. Then, I picked a color that I liked from the paint store. I chose a light blue color to create a calm and peaceful atmosphere. After preparing the walls by cleaning and sanding them, I started painting. I used a roller brush to cover large areas and a smaller brush for corners and edges. It took me a few days to complete the painting, but the end result was worth it. My room now looks bright and new with its fresh coat of paint.
I planned a party recently. First, I sent out invitations to my friends. I made sure to include the date, time, and location. Next, I decided on a theme for the party. I wanted it to be a fun and casual gathering, so I chose a backyard barbecue theme. Then, I prepared for the party by getting all the necessary supplies. I bought decorations, food, and drinks. I also cleaned up the backyard and set up tables and chairs. On the day of the party, I cooked the food and set up a drink station. My friends started arriving, and we had a great time chatting, eating, and playing games. Everyone enjoyed themselves, and the party was a success. I was happy that my planning paid off, and everyone had a memorable time.
I needed to change a light bulb in my house. First, I made sure to turn off the power to be safe. Then, I carefully unscrewed the old bulb from the socket. It was a bit tricky because it was tightly screwed in. After removing the old bulb, I took out the new one from its packaging. I positioned it correctly in the socket and twisted it clockwise until it was secure. Finally, I turned the power back on and the new light bulb lit up the room brightly. It was a simple task, but it made a big difference in the lighting of the room.
I needed to get my hair done, so I decided to call the hair salon. I spoke to a receptionist and asked if they had any available appointments. The receptionist told me they had an opening at 1 p.m. on Friday. I agreed to the appointment, and the receptionist booked it for me. I made sure to write down the date and time in my calendar so I wouldn't forget. Now I'm looking forward to getting my hair done on Friday.
I needed to go shopping, so I wrote a list. I listed the things I needed to buy. I organized the list for each store I would visit. I went to the first store and checked off the items as I found them. Then, I went to the next store on my list. I kept track of everything I found. Finally, I finished shopping and checked off all the items on my list.
I woke up in the morning and decided to check my social media. I grabbed my phone and logged into my accounts. There were so many updates waiting for me. I started scrolling through the posts, seeing what my friends had been up to. Some of them had gone on vacations, and others had shared funny videos. I liked a few posts and left comments on some, too. It was nice to connect with my friends, even if it was just online. After spending some time on social media, I put my phone down and got ready for the day ahead.
One day, I decided to wash the windows in my house. I found a bottle of vinegar and mixed it with water in a bucket. Then, I took a sponge and dipped it into the bucket. I started scrubbing the glass using the wet sponge, making sure to reach all the corners. As I cleaned, I could see the dirt and grime coming off the windows. Once I finished scrubbing, I took a clean cloth and started wiping the glass dry. The vinegar solution helped remove any streaks or smudges on the windows. Finally, I stood back and admired the sparkling, clean windows in my home.
I needed to buy gifts for my loved ones. I thought about what would be suitable presents for each of them. I visited different stores to find the perfect gifts. I looked at a variety of options and compared prices. Finally, I made my decision and purchased the gifts. I felt satisfied knowing that I found something special for each person.
Today, I checked the weather on my phone. I opened a weather app and looked at the forecast. It said it would be sunny with a high of 75 degrees. Based on that information, I planned my day accordingly. I decided to wear a t-shirt and shorts because it would be warm outside. I also packed a pair of sunglasses in my bag. I knew I would need them to protect my eyes from the bright sun. After checking the weather, I felt prepared and ready to start my day.
Today, I decided to make a to-do list. I wrote down all the tasks I need to do. First, I listed the tasks in order of importance. Then, I started working on them one by one. I finished the first task and moved on to the next. I felt organized and focused as I checked off each task on my list. It was a productive day and I accomplished a lot. Making a to-do list really helped me stay on track.
I decided to organize my digital files on my computer. I started by creating different folders for each category. I sorted the documents into their respective folders. I also deleted any files that were unnecessary or duplicates. It felt good to have everything in order and easily accessible. Now I can easily find the files that I need without any hassle. It was a productive and satisfying activity.
I had some clothes that I didn't wear anymore. I decided to donate them. I gathered all the clothes and put them in a bag. Then, I looked for a donation center near my house. I found one and drove there. I dropped off the bag of clothes at the donation center. It felt good to know that someone else could use the clothes now.
Yesterday, I decided to make a smoothie for breakfast. I gathered some fruits, like bananas and berries. I also grabbed some yogurt from the fridge. First, I peeled and sliced the bananas. Then, I added them to the blender. Next, I washed the berries and added them too. After that, I spooned in some yogurt. To make the smoothie cold, I put some ice cubes in the blender as well. Finally, I turned on the blender and let it blend everything together. Once it was smooth and creamy, I poured the smoothie into a glass. It looked so colorful and delicious. I took a sip and it tasted amazing. The combination of fruits and yogurt was really refreshing. I enjoyed my homemade smoothie and it was a great way to start the day.
Today, I cleaned the bathroom. First, I scrubbed the toilet until it was sparkling clean. Then, I wiped down the sink, removing any toothpaste stains. After that, I grabbed a mop and began to clean the floor. I made sure to get into all the corners and under the toilet. Finally, I emptied the trash and put everything back in its place. Now, the bathroom looks fresh and tidy.
I walked to the bus stop, which was just a few blocks away from my house. The weather was nice, so the walk was enjoyable. I reached the bus stop and checked the schedule on the display. The bus was supposed to arrive in 10 minutes. I found a seat on the bench and waited patiently. After a short wait, I saw the bus approaching in the distance. It stopped right in front of me, and the doors slid open. I stepped onto the bus and paid my fare to the driver. The bus was quite crowded, but I managed to find a spot to stand. As the bus started moving, I held onto the handrail for balance. I enjoyed looking out the window as we drove through different neighborhoods. The ride was smooth, and I could see people getting on and off at various stops. Finally, we reached my destination. I pressed the bell, signaling the driver that I wanted to get off. The bus came to a stop, and I walked towards the door. I thanked the driver as I stepped off the bus and continued on my way to my final destination.
I made a digital presentation. I organized the information logically. I designed slides with pictures and text. I practiced speaking aloud. I presented to a group of people. I started with an introduction. I explained each slide clearly. I used eye contact and gestures. I answered questions at the end. The audience clapped when I finished. I felt proud of my presentation. I learned valuable skills.
I recently had to pack a suitcase for an upcoming trip. I laid out all of my clothes on my bed to see what I had. Then, I folded each item neatly and placed them in the suitcase. I made sure to pack enough clothes for the duration of my trip. Along with my clothes, I also packed my toiletries and other travel essentials. I made a checklist to ensure that I didn't forget anything important. Once everything was packed, I closed the suitcase and made sure it was securely fastened. I double-checked to make sure I had everything I needed before leaving for my trip.
I decided to go for a hike. I prepared myself by putting on comfortable shoes and packing snacks and water. I wanted to explore the nature trails and enjoy the fresh air. As I started walking, I felt the cool breeze and listened to the sounds of nature. I saw colorful flowers and tall trees. I followed the marked trails and crossed small streams. Along the way, I stopped to rest and eat the snacks that I brought. The view was breathtaking, with mountains in the distance. I continued walking, feeling more and more energized. It was a great way to exercise and be in touch with nature. Eventually, I made my way back to where I started. It was a fulfilling experience and I felt proud of myself for completing the hike.
I needed a place to stay, so I looked for hotels online. I found several options and compared the prices. After deciding which hotel was the best fit for me, I made a reservation. I entered my check-in and check-out dates, as well as my name and contact information. Finally, I received a confirmation email with all the details of my reservation.
I wanted to send a postcard to a friend or family member, so I went to a store. I found a postcard that I liked and bought it. Then, I wrote a message on the back of the postcard. I wrote about what I had been doing and asked how they were doing. After writing the message, I put a stamp on the postcard. I walked to the nearest mailbox and dropped the postcard inside. I was happy that I had sent a postcard to someone I cared about.
Yesterday, I decided to clean the garage. I started by organizing all the tools and equipment. I carefully arranged them on the shelves so that they were easy to find. Then, I grabbed a broom and swept the entire floor. There was a lot of dust and dirt, but I made sure to clean every corner. While cleaning, I noticed some unnecessary items that were taking up space. I took them out and placed them in a separate pile. Finally, I was satisfied with the neat and organized garage. It felt great to have a clean and tidy space.
I decided to have a birthday party and invited my friends. I picked a place to hold the party and started planning. I bought decorations for the venue. I also bought some snacks and drinks for the guests. On the day of the party, I set up the decorations and made sure everything looked nice. My friends arrived and we had a great time together. We played games and sang happy birthday to me. It was a special celebration and I was happy that my friends came to celebrate with me.
Yesterday, I went shopping. I visited various stores and looked at different clothes and shoes. I tried on a few items and decided to make some purchases. I went to the cashier and paid for my items. Then, I left the store and went on to the next one. I repeated this process at each store I visited. Finally, when I was done, I went back home with my new clothes and shoes.
Last week, I wanted to thank someone for their help. I decided to write a thank you card. I grabbed a pen and paper and sat down at my desk. I thought about what I wanted to say. I wrote down my thoughts and feelings. Once I finished writing, I read over the card to check for mistakes. Satisfied, I carefully folded the card and put it in an envelope. I wrote the recipient's address on the front of the envelope. Later that day, I walked to the mailbox and put the card inside. I raised the red flag to signal that there was outgoing mail. I felt happy knowing that my gratitude was now on its way to the recipient.
I decided to start exercising to improve my fitness. I researched different exercises online. I found exercises for cardio, strength training, and flexibility. I created a schedule for my workout routine. I plan to exercise for 30 minutes, 3 times a week. I chose Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as my workout days. On Monday, I started my fitness journey. I did some warm-up exercises to prepare my body. Then, I started with cardio exercises like jogging and jumping jacks. After that, I moved on to strength training exercises like push-ups and squats. Lastly, I did some stretches to improve my flexibility. I felt tired but satisfied with my workout. I continued following my workout schedule throughout the week.
I had to send a package, so I prepared the items carefully. I wrapped them in bubble wrap and put them in a sturdy box. Then, I sealed the box with tape to ensure it wouldn't open during shipping. Next, I wrote the recipient's address on the box using a pen. I made sure to include the correct zip code and city. After that, I took the package to the nearest post office. I waited in line, and when it was my turn, I handed the package to the postal worker. They weighed the package and asked me some questions about its contents. I answered their questions and paid for the shipping. The postal worker placed a sticker on the package with a tracking number. I thanked them and left the post office. I feel relieved that I successfully sent the package.
I decided to learn a new skill, so I enrolled in a class. The class met twice a week and lasted for 2 hours. The instructor was very knowledgeable and taught us step by step. I practiced the skill regularly at home. It was difficult at first, but I kept practicing. Slowly, I started to improve. I could see myself getting better with each practice session. After a few months, I became proficient in the skill. I was proud of my accomplishment and felt confident in my abilities. Learning a new skill was challenging, but it was also very rewarding.
I decided to renovate my home. First, I researched different designs online. Then, I consulted professionals to get their advice. After that, I created a detailed plan for the remodeling project. I made a list of all the changes I wanted to make. I also set a budget for the renovation. Next, I visited several stores to compare prices and find the best deals on materials. Once I had everything I needed, I started the renovation process. It took a lot of time and effort, but I was determined to make my home beautiful. Finally, after weeks of hard work, the renovation was complete. I was thrilled with the results and happy that I had taken on this project.
I recently decided to update my resume. I listed all my qualifications, including my education and work experience. I made sure to highlight my relevant skills. After that, I wrote a cover letter tailored to each job opportunity. I made sure to emphasize my enthusiasm and explain why I would be a good fit for the position. Once my resume and cover letter were ready, I started applying for job opportunities. I visited various job websites and submitted my applications online. I also reached out to some companies directly and sent them my application through email. I hope to receive positive responses soon.
I went to the pool today to go swimming. I first put on my swimsuit. Then, I headed to the pool. The pool was empty, so I had it all to myself. I jumped into the cool water and started to swim. The water felt refreshing against my skin. I swam back and forth in the pool, enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. After a while, I decided to take a break and relax on one of the lounge chairs by the pool. I closed my eyes and listened to the sounds of the water. It was such a wonderful experience to swim and unwind at the pool.
I woke up early in the morning with a fresh mind. I put on my comfortable shoes and got ready for the day. I packed my essentials, including my lunch and water bottle. I walked out of my house and started my journey to work. The sun was shining brightly, and the weather was pleasant. I enjoyed the peaceful walk as I passed by the park and heard the birds chirping. Along the way, I saw some people jogging and cycling. It was a nice sight to see everyone being active. I reached my workplace feeling refreshed and energized after my walk. Walking to work is a great way to start my day and stay active.
I decided to create a study schedule to help me stay organized and focused. First, I made a list of all the subjects I needed to cover. Then, I allocated specific time slots for each subject. I made sure to give myself breaks in between subjects to stay refreshed. Once my study schedule was ready, I stuck to it diligently. I followed the structured plan and studied each subject according to the allocated time. It helped me prioritize my learning and stay on track with my studies.
I decided to improve my public speaking skills, so I enrolled in a course. The lessons were very helpful. We learned about body language and vocal delivery. We also practiced writing and delivering speeches. It was challenging at first, but I made progress over time. I learned how to engage the audience and speak confidently. The practice sessions were nerve-wracking, but they helped me grow. With each speech, I gained more confidence. The feedback from the instructor and classmates was valuable. It allowed me to identify areas for improvement. Overall, the course was a great experience. I learned a lot and my communication skills definitely improved. I feel more confident speaking in public now.
I went to the library to find some books. I looked at different genres. I picked books that interested me. I went to the front desk to borrow them. I showed my library card. I returned home and started reading. I enjoyed the stories. The library was peaceful. It had a cozy atmosphere. I spent a few hours there. I finished reading one book. I decided to come back next week. The library is a great place to relax and read.
Today, I decided to start writing a personal journal. I sat down with a pen and paper, ready to reflect on my day. I thought about everything that happened and how I felt about it. I wrote down my thoughts and poured my emotions onto the paper. I documented all of my experiences, big and small. It felt good to get everything out and onto the page. Writing a journal is a great way to remember and process my day. I'm looking forward to continuing this daily practice.
I wanted to plan a fun outing for my family. We all sat down and discussed some ideas. After talking about different options, we finally decided on a location. I then took charge and organized everything for the outing. I made sure to check the weather and pack some snacks for everyone. On the day of the outing, we all got ready and headed to the location. We had a great time exploring and enjoying different activities together. At the end of the day, we were all tired but happy. It was a successful family outing that we will always remember.
I decided to create a scrapbook to preserve my memories. I collected photos and mementos from different events in my life. It was a fun process of selecting which ones to include. I arranged them creatively, experimenting with different layouts. I used colorful backgrounds and added stickers and captions to make it more interesting. It took some time to glue everything down carefully. It was satisfying to see the pages come together. Finally, I placed the completed pages in plastic protectors to keep them safe. Now, I have a beautiful scrapbook filled with cherished memories.
I woke up early and got ready for work. I walked to the bus stop. The bus arrived on time. I got on the bus and found a seat. The bus was not crowded. The bus ride was smooth and comfortable. I enjoyed looking out the window and watching the city go by. After a while, I reached the train station. I got off the bus and walked to the train platform. The train arrived shortly after. I boarded the train and found a seat. The train was clean and quiet. I enjoyed the peaceful ride. The train took me straight to my destination. I got off the train and walked to my office. Overall, using public transportation was convenient and saved me money on parking.
I went grocery shopping yesterday. First, I made a list of all the items I needed. Then, I went to the store and found everything on my list. I walked up and down the aisles, looking for each item. Once I had everything, I went to the cashier to check out. The cashier scanned all of my items and I paid for them. I got everything I needed for the entire week.
I decided to go for a bike ride in the park. I got on my bike and started pedaling. The sun was shining and the weather was nice. As I rode, I felt the wind in my hair. I enjoyed the feeling of freedom and adventure. I passed by people walking and jogging. The park was filled with green trees and flowers. The fresh air made me feel alive and energized. I rode for about 30 minutes before I stopped. I was sweating and felt a bit tired. I realized that biking is a great workout. I felt proud of myself for staying active. I plan to go for bike rides more often. It's a fun and healthy way to spend my time.
I attended a family gathering last weekend. I met up with my relatives whom I hadn't seen for a while. We had a great time catching up and sharing stories. We also enjoyed a scrumptious meal that was prepared by everyone. After eating, we decided to play some games together. We laughed, cheered, and had so much fun. It was such a joyful and memorable day that brought us closer together.
Today, I decided to clean my room. First, I organized all my belongings, making sure everything had its proper place. I picked up any stray items and put them away. Then, I grabbed a cloth and started dusting the furniture. I carefully wiped down each surface, removing any dirt or dust. It felt good to see everything looking clean and shiny. Finally, I tackled my bed. I straightened the sheets and fluffed the pillows until it looked neat and inviting. Stepping back, I admired my handiwork. Having a tidy space made me feel accomplished and satisfied.
Yesterday, I went for a swim at the beach. The weather was warm and sunny. I walked along the shore and felt the sand between my toes. Then, I jumped into the water and splashed around. The waves were strong, but I didn't mind. I enjoyed the feeling of the cool water against my skin. After swimming, I decided to build sandcastles. I dug a hole in the sand and used my hands to shape it into a castle. It was fun to be creative and build something. Later, I laid down on my towel and relaxed under the sun. It felt so good to soak up the warmth. The sound of the waves crashing was soothing. I felt refreshed and at peace. It was a wonderful day at the beach.
One evening, I decided to write in my journal. I opened it and picked up a pen. I started pouring out my thoughts onto the page. I wrote about what happened during my day. I reflected on the good and the bad. It felt good to let it all out. I expressed my emotions, both positive and negative. Writing in my journal was a therapeutic activity for me.
Yesterday, I decided to plant flowers in my garden. I grabbed a shovel and started digging holes in the soil. Then, I took the flower seeds and carefully placed them in the holes. After that, I watered the soil around the seeds. I repeated these steps for all the seeds I had. It was exciting to imagine how the flowers would look once they grew. I patiently waited for days, watering them regularly. Eventually, I started to see small green shoots emerging from the soil. It felt satisfying to witness the progress and know that my efforts were paying off. I continued to water the flowers, and as the days passed, they grew bigger and stronger. Seeing the vibrant colors of the flowers in my garden brought me so much joy.
I went to the library to study. I found a quiet corner and sat down. I opened my textbooks and started reading. As I read, I took notes in my notebook. I focused on the important information for my upcoming exams. The library was calm and peaceful, which helped me concentrate. I spent a few hours studying without any distractions. It was a productive study session and I felt accomplished.
In my backyard, I started gardening. I planted vegetables carefully. I pulled out weeds regularly. I watered and nurtured my plants consistently. It required patience and dedication. After weeks of care, I saw progress. The plants grew taller and stronger. Eventually, they produced vegetables. Harvesting my own produce felt gratifying. I enjoyed the fresh taste of my homegrown vegetables. Gardening became a rewarding activity for me.
I woke up early and decided to go for a jog. I put on my running shoes and tied the laces tightly. Then, I stepped outside and started running. The cool air brushed against my face as I ran along the path. I set a comfortable pace and focused on my breathing. It felt refreshing to be outside and surrounded by nature. The sun was just rising, casting a warm glow on everything around me. I could hear the birds chirping and the sound of my footsteps hitting the pavement. My body felt invigorated, and my mind felt clear. It was a great way to start the day and get my energy flowing.
I went to a farmer's market in my neighborhood. There were lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. I looked around and saw many different stalls. The market had a really nice atmosphere. I walked around and saw people talking and laughing. Some vendors were giving out samples of their homemade treats. I tried a few and they were delicious. I bought some fresh apples and tomatoes. The prices were reasonable. It felt good to support local businesses. The market was crowded, but it was fun to see so many people enjoying themselves. I really liked the community-oriented vibe of the event.
I decided to take my dog for a walk. I grabbed a leash and attached it to my furry friend. We stepped outside and began exploring the neighborhood. My dog seemed excited, wagging his tail as we walked. We passed by other dogs and people, some of whom we stopped to say hello to. It was a great opportunity for both of us to get some exercise and fresh air. We walked for about 30 minutes before heading back home. It was a simple but enjoyable activity that brought us closer together.
Last weekend, I visited a theme park with my friends. We had an amazing time. We tried many thrilling roller coasters and screamed with excitement. The lines were long, but it was worth the wait. We also played carnival games and won some prizes. The atmosphere was lively and filled with laughter. After all the excitement, we treated ourselves to some delicious snacks. We ate cotton candy, popcorn, and enjoyed ice cream. It was such a fun and exhilarating day. I can't wait to go back again.
Yesterday, I decided to go for a hike in the forest. I found a scenic trail that seemed interesting. As I walked, I could hear birds singing in the trees. It was a pleasant sound that made me feel calm and relaxed. The trail was surrounded by tall trees, and I couldn't help but admire their beauty. The forest provided a peaceful escape from the noise and busyness of everyday life. It was a refreshing experience to be in nature and enjoy its tranquility.
Today, I set goals for the week. I made a to-do list with tasks. I prioritized the tasks based on importance. Then, I planned my schedule for the week. I wrote down what I need to do each day. I made sure to include enough time for each task. I want to be organized and get things done. This way, I can have a productive start to the week. I am motivated to complete all the tasks on my list.
I went to a local sports event recently. I cheered loudly for my favorite team. There were many other fans around me. We celebrated every goal with high fives. The atmosphere was electric with excitement. The game was intense and full of action. It kept me on the edge of my seat. My team played really well. They scored some amazing goals. It was a thrilling game. I had a great time cheering and supporting my team.
I went for a walk in the park on a leisurely afternoon. I strolled along the paths, enjoying the fresh air and sunshine. As I walked, I greeted other people who were also out for a walk. The park was full of colorful flowers in bloom, and I admired their beauty as I passed by. It was a peaceful and relaxing experience, just taking my time and enjoying the scenery.
I decided to have a DIY project at home. First, I painted a room with a fresh coat of paint. Then, I started assembling some new furniture pieces that I had bought. It was a bit challenging at times, but I followed the instructions carefully. Finally, I brought my creative ideas to life by adding some personal touches to the room. It felt so satisfying to see everything come together. Overall, it was a productive and rewarding endeavor that I thoroughly enjoyed.
Recently, I went on a trip to the zoo. It was a fun and educational experience. I saw many different types of animals there. I learned interesting facts about them too. It was amazing to see the diversity of nature. I was in awe of the beautiful creatures I saw. It was a great opportunity to learn more about animals and their habitats. I really enjoyed my time at the zoo and hope to visit again soon.
I went to a local cafe yesterday. I ordered my favorite coffee, a latte. I found a cozy spot near the window and sat down. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. I took a sip of my coffee and enjoyed the rich and creamy flavor. It was just what I needed to start my day. I sat there for a while, enjoying the peaceful atmosphere and watching people pass by outside. It was a comforting and enjoyable break from my daily routine.
I decided to go for a bike ride in the countryside. I pedaled slowly through the scenic trails, enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. The sun was shining brightly above me. As I rode, I felt the cool breeze against my face, which was refreshing. The path was surrounded by tall trees and colorful flowers. I could hear the birds chirping and the sound of leaves rustling in the wind. Along the way, I stopped to admire the picturesque views of rolling hills and green meadows. It was a perfect escape into nature, away from the busy city life. I felt relaxed and rejuvenated as I continued my ride.
Last week, I went to a book club meeting. We talked about a book that we all read. I shared my thoughts about the book and also listened to what others had to say. It was really interesting to hear different perspectives and ideas. The conversation was very stimulating and we had a great discussion about the book. I enjoyed being part of the book club and having thoughtful conversations about literature.
Yesterday, I went on a day trip to a nearby town. I walked around the charming streets, and I stumbled upon interesting local shops. The town had a unique atmosphere that I really enjoyed. I decided to try the regional cuisine, so I went to a small restaurant. I tasted some delicious dishes that I had never tried before. It was a mini adventure for me because I discovered new things and enjoyed the experience.
I decided to try a fitness class at the gym. The instructor led the class and showed us how to do different exercises. I followed along and tried my best to copy the movements. The class was intense and I started to sweat a lot. It was challenging, but I didn't give up. I pushed myself to keep going. After the class, I felt tired but also proud of myself. I could feel my muscles getting stronger. It was a great workout and I felt invigorated afterwards.
I wanted to try something new, so I decided to pick up a new hobby. I went to the store and bought all the supplies I needed. I then went home and started watching tutorials online to learn the basics. It was a bit confusing at first, but I kept practicing. Every day, I set aside some time to work on my new hobby. Slowly but surely, I started to improve. It felt so rewarding to see my skills grow and my creations come to life. It was a journey of learning and creativity that I will always cherish.
Yesterday, I decided to take a day off from work. I woke up late and enjoyed a leisurely breakfast. Then, I spent some time catching up on my sleep by taking a long nap. In the afternoon, I decided to indulge in my favorite hobbies. I spent hours reading a book that I had been wanting to finish for a while. Later, I took a break and watched a few episodes of my favorite TV show. It was so nice to have some time for myself and do the things that I love. The day off was exactly what I needed to recharge and rejuvenate.
I decided to try a new restaurant for dinner. I looked at the menu and picked a dish I've never tried before. The waiter took my order and brought me my meal. I took a bite and tasted the flavors. It was different from what I usually eat, but it was delicious. I enjoyed exploring new flavors and experiencing new culinary delights.
During our camping trip in the mountains, my friends and I set up tents. We found a suitable spot and carefully pitched them. Next, we went in search of firewood to keep us warm throughout the night. As darkness fell, we gathered around the campfire and roasted marshmallows. The sky was clear, and the stars shone brightly above us, creating a magical atmosphere. This camping experience was truly unforgettable and filled with exciting outdoor activities.
I went for a walk on the beach. I strolled along the shoreline, enjoying the view. The sand felt warm and soft beneath my feet. I listened to the sound of waves crashing onto the shore. It was calming and relaxing. The cool breeze brushed against my face, refreshing me. I took deep breaths of the salty air. The sun was shining brightly, creating a beautiful reflection on the water. I walked for a while, taking in the peaceful atmosphere. It was a rejuvenating experience.
I decided to write a letter to a friend. I wanted to express my thoughts and feelings and share some updates with them. So, I sat down with a pen and paper. I started by writing a greeting at the beginning of the letter. Then, I began writing about what has been happening in my life recently. I shared some exciting news and talked about my daily activities. I also mentioned how much I missed my friend and how important our friendship is to me. After finishing the letter, I carefully folded it and put it in an envelope. I sealed the envelope and wrote my friend's address on it. Finally, I went to the post office and sent the letter on its way. Writing the letter was a heartfelt gesture of connection and friendship. I hope my friend enjoys reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it.
I recently attended a sports class. In the class, I learned new techniques. The instructor showed us how to properly execute each movement. We practiced drills to reinforce what we learned. It was challenging at first, but with practice, I started to improve. It felt rewarding to see my skills progress. The class was a journey of physical fitness. I pushed myself to keep up with the exercises. Each session became easier as I became more familiar with the routines. I enjoyed the feeling of accomplishment after each class. Attending the sports class was a great opportunity to improve my skills and stay active.
Last weekend, I had a bonfire with my friends. We all sat together in front of a big fire. We laughed and talked while the fire crackled. We brought marshmallows to roast over the fire. The marshmallows turned golden brown and soft. They tasted sweet and gooey. We enjoyed eating them. We also shared stories with each other. Some stories were funny, and others were scary. We all listened and laughed together. The fire kept us warm as we sat around it. It was a cozy evening. We stayed there for a long time, enjoying each other's company. It was a memorable night with my friends.
I went on a day trip to the beach. The weather was sunny and warm. When I arrived, I found a spot on the sand. I lay down and enjoyed the sunshine. I felt the warmth on my skin. I brought a book and read it while I sunbathed. The ocean was clear and inviting. I decided to go for a swim. The water felt refreshing against my skin. I swam and splashed around. It was so much fun. After swimming, I built sandcastles. I molded the sand into different shapes. I used seashells to decorate them. Time flew by, and before I knew it, it was time to leave. I packed up my things and headed back home. It was a relaxing and enjoyable day by the sea.
I decided to try a new workout routine. I found some fitness videos online. I watched them and followed along. The exercises were challenging, but I pushed myself to keep going. I worked up a sweat and felt my muscles working. After finishing the workout, I felt tired but accomplished. I knew that I was taking a step towards a healthier lifestyle.
I decided to have a staycation at home. I set up a cozy atmosphere with soft blankets and dim lights. I spent the day indulging in relaxing activities like reading a book and taking a hot bath. I also treated myself to a face mask and painted my nails. I took the time to practice some self-care and pamper myself. It was so nice to have a break without leaving the comfort of my own home. I felt refreshed and rejuvenated after my staycation.
I went to a community garage sale last weekend. The area was filled with tables displaying different things. I walked around, browsing through the items. There were clothes, books, and household items. I found some second-hand treasures that caught my eye. They were in good condition and at a reasonable price. I bought them to support the local sellers. It was a great way to find unique items and save money. Plus, it felt good knowing I was contributing to a sustainable shopping experience. Overall, it was a successful and enjoyable outing.
I decided to try something new, so I enrolled in a painting class. The instructor taught us various techniques to create artwork. We learned how to mix different colors on a palette. I found it fascinating to see how the colors blended together. Throughout the class, I was able to create my own artwork. It was a liberating experience to express myself through painting. I enjoyed the whole process and felt accomplished at the end.
Last weekend, I decided to go for a hike in the national park. I found a scenic trail to follow. As I walked along the trail, I admired the beautiful wildlife around me. Birds were chirping and butterflies were flying around. I even saw a deer grazing in the distance. The weather was perfect, with the sun shining and a light breeze in the air. The trail led me through lush green forests and open meadows. The views were absolutely stunning. I could see mountains in the distance and a crystal-clear river flowing nearby. The sound of the rushing water was so calming. I felt so connected to nature in that moment. It was a wonderful escape from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. I felt so refreshed and rejuvenated after spending a few hours in the wilderness.
I woke up early in the morning and put on my running shoes. I tied the laces tightly before heading out for a run. The streets were empty and peaceful as I stepped onto the pavement. The cool breeze brushed against my face, refreshing me instantly. I began to jog, feeling the energy coursing through my body. Each step on the pavement felt invigorating. The sound of my footsteps echoed in the quiet surroundings. As I continued running, my mind cleared, and I felt a sense of tranquility. The morning sun slowly rose, casting a warm glow over the neighborhood. I took in the sights and sounds around me, appreciating the beauty of the new day. Running in the morning not only awakened my body but also lifted my spirits. It was a wonderful start to the day, filled with energy and positivity.
I decided to take a pottery class. I learned to mold clay into different shapes. I experimented with textures like smooth and rough. I created unique ceramic pieces like bowls and vases. It was a tactile experience, as I could feel the clay in my hands. It was also an artistic experience, as I could use my creativity to make something unique. I enjoyed the class and was proud of the pieces I made.
I wanted a new hairstyle, so I watched tutorial videos online. The videos showed different ways to style hair. I used styling tools like a brush and a curling iron. I followed the steps in the videos and tried the different hairstyles. It was a bit challenging at first, but I kept practicing. Finally, I achieved the hairstyle I wanted. I looked in the mirror and saw a fresh and different look. It was exciting to see the transformation. I felt happy and proud of myself for trying something new. It was a fun experience and I enjoyed giving myself a makeover.
I went to a local carnival. I rode exciting rides. The rides made me feel thrilled and excited. I also played games at the carnival. I tried to win prizes. I had fun trying to throw balls and knock down cans. I didn't win any prizes, but it was still enjoyable. There was also food at the carnival. I ate delicious fair food. I had cotton candy, popcorn, and a hot dog. The food was tasty and satisfying. The carnival was lively and festive. There were many people laughing and having a good time. It was a day of fun and enjoyment.
I visited a beautiful botanical garden recently. I was amazed by the colorful flowers I saw there. I also had the chance to learn about different types of plants. The garden had a variety of species, and it was fascinating to see how they were all unique. As I walked around, I noticed the pleasant and refreshing scents in the air. It was a tranquil and visually appealing experience.
I decided to try something new, so I signed up for a pottery class. In the first class, I was given a block of clay and started shaping it with my hands. It felt squishy and cool. The teacher showed us how to use a pottery wheel, and I was excited to try it. It was a bit tricky at first, but with practice, I got the hang of it. I learned how to mold the clay on the wheel and create different shapes. It was really satisfying to see the clay transform under my hands. Over the course of the class, I made various bowls, mugs, and vases. It was amazing to see my creations come to life. Working with clay was not only therapeutic but also allowed me to unleash my creativity. I loved the feeling of getting my hands dirty and creating something functional out of clay. It was a truly enjoyable experience.
I woke up early in the morning and decided to go for a jog. I put on my running shoes and headed out to the river. The weather was cool and pleasant. As I started running, I felt the fresh air filling my lungs. I could hear the soothing sound of the water flowing in the river. The view of the river was calming and peaceful. I continued to jog along the riverbank, feeling a sense of tranquility. The run was invigorating and it helped me to clear my mind. I enjoyed the peacefulness of the surroundings and the feeling of being one with nature.
Yesterday, I attended a painting workshop. I learned various techniques like blending and brush strokes. We mixed colors on a palette to create different shades. I had a canvas in front of me and started expressing my creativity. It was challenging but also exciting. I experimented with different colors and textures. The instructor encouraged us to let go and explore our artistic side. It was a great opportunity to meet new people who shared the same interest. Overall, it was an inspiring and artistic experience for me.
I went on a day trip to a vineyard nearby. Firstly, I toured the wine production facilities and learned about the winemaking process. It was interesting to see how the grapes are harvested and the wine is made. After the tour, I had the chance to taste different varieties of wine. It was a great experience to taste and compare the flavors of the different wines. Overall, the trip was sophisticated and educational.
Yesterday, my friends and I decided to try out a new restaurant. It was an exciting experience. The restaurant served exotic flavors from different cuisines. We were all eager to try something new. As we sat down at our table, we started by ordering some appetizers to share. The food arrived and we all savored the delicious flavors. We couldn't help but talk about the different dishes and ingredients. It was a great opportunity to learn more about different types of food. The atmosphere was lively with laughter and conversations about the food we were eating. It felt like a social gathering where we could bond over our love for good food. Overall, it was a culinary exploration that brought us closer as friends.
Last weekend, I went to a planetarium. I saw a presentation about the solar system. They showed me the different planets and their sizes. I learned that the Sun is the center of our solar system. After that, we looked at the stars and galaxies. They were so beautiful and bright. I couldn't believe how many there were. It made me realize how big the universe is. I felt amazed and learned a lot.
I decided to go on a photography walk in the city. I wanted to explore and practice my camera skills. It turned out to be a creative and spontaneous adventure. I walked around the streets and observed interesting scenes. I took out my camera and started capturing the beauty around me. I focused on different subjects and experimented with different angles. I played with the settings on my camera to get the perfect shot. It was exciting to see how the photos turned out. I felt inspired and motivated to keep learning and improving my photography skills. Overall, it was a fun and fulfilling experience.
I went for a walk in a beautiful botanical garden. It was a sunny day. I saw many colorful flowers in vibrant red, yellow, and purple. The garden was peaceful and quiet. I heard birds chirping and singing their melodies. I saw butterflies gently fluttering around the flowers. The air smelled fresh and sweet. I felt relaxed and calm as I walked along the winding paths. I stopped to admire a tall tree with wide branches. I sat down on a bench and just enjoyed the tranquility of the garden. It was a sensory experience, with so many beautiful sights and sounds. It felt rejuvenating to be surrounded by nature's beauty. I felt grateful for this peaceful moment.
I decided to take a break from the busy city and go on a day trip to the countryside. It was a beautiful day with clear blue skies. I drove through winding roads surrounded by lush green fields and tall trees. My first stop was a small town with charming houses and colorful flowers. I walked around and explored the quaint shops and cafes. Then, I visited a local farm where I got to see cows, sheep, and chickens. It was so peaceful to be surrounded by nature and breathe in the fresh country air. I continued my journey and came across a stunning waterfall in the middle of a forest. The sound of the water crashing down was soothing. I sat on a nearby bench and just enjoyed the view for a while. As the day went on, I hiked up a hill and reached a lookout point. From there, I could see rolling hills and vast meadows stretching out before me. It was a breathtaking sight. The whole day was a refreshing escape from the hustle and bustle of city life. I felt rejuvenated and grateful for the beauty that nature has to offer.